This woman asks, how can I be a better partner? Yeah, well, I mean, there's direct correlation with really, in the most part, your level of knowledge about relationships and attraction in correlation to your success in a relationship and how fulfilled you feel in the relationship. Because attraction isn't a choice. And so it's like if you can figure out the pattern that causes another person to be attracted to you and you attracted to them, um, then once you tap into that pattern, it's just repeated success over and over again. So that's what I would say. Improve your skills. There's no way around, bypassing that. And if you don't, then chances are the relationship is going to fail. And so that's how I would do it. But also don't have your partner like correct you or do things like that, because oftentimes it can, even if it's like you ask for it, sometimes the resentment or kind of the negative things can be associated with trying to correct your partner. And so just be very careful on that. Oftentimes, what you'll have to do is just improve this stuff on your own. So she's 25. She says, I just entered a new relationship with my boyfriend who's 24. I'm fairly new to serious relationships. In the past, I've identified myself as being a mix of anxious and avoidantly attached. Yeah, okay. Do you identify with that as now? Because your identity, when you're attached to something, that is a big deal. It shapes how you think, how you act. And so sometimes it's important to really not identify with things, especially if they're negative beliefs. And instead just look at them objectively as, hey, this is a pattern that I'm running. This isn't me. I'm not this pattern, but it's just a pattern that I'm running. And when you can kind of distance yourself, step back, you can just shift that pattern of behavior, and then it's much easier to do than shifting your whole self. I'd like to be a good partner. I'm finding myself fighting anxious thoughts, mostly about not being enough or not being worthy of being in a relationship. Again, well, an easy way to that one, maybe not easy because it takes a lot of work, but is to just improve your skills in relationships. When you improve your skills and know exactly what to do, you get more confidence, you get more self worth. When he doesn't reply for a while, I catch myself thinking he's over it / us when I know that's not the case. He's pretty consistent, and we have built a good foundation. Yeah, but is that I just like to see your foundation, because it's like in your mind it is a good foundation, but is it truly one that will sustain? Just do you have the perception of what a true good foundation is? It's just good things to know. Always kind of like check ourselves on our own model of the world, on our own model of relationships, especially if you've never really studied relationships and your references are only like what you think creatively or what you've experienced from your parents who might not have a good model as well. Just be careful on saying we're good in this relationship and then not improving on it. I choose to believe him even though I feel like I'm not good enough. Yeah, and that's a self-esteem issue. I mean, one thing is doing what you say. So it's like when you can do what you say, and so it's like you set a task and then you do that task every single day, and then it's like a reward to yourself and your self-worth and self-esteem that, hey, I do that every day, and the things that I say I'm going to do, I do them. It just builds a sense of self-confidence compared to, oh, I do something and then I don't do it, and then it's just like now I start to punish myself, and you get in that pattern. It's like you don't. And that's why sometimes it's really important to make really small commitments. And so it's like when I learned guitar, it took me, 2.5 years or so, 20 minutes a day. And that's the minimum. Sometimes I'll do more, sometimes, but that's the minimum. I don't do less than 20 minutes. And I've done that every single day for 2.5 years. And it just builds that sense of confidence, but also it's really effective. And you'll be surprised how much you can accomplish in just like a small 20-minute period. Same thing goes with fitness as well. I did the same concept. I'm using basically what's called my consistency tracker. Basically just recording each success every day. Every time I do something, I write it down. It's like a little reward, a little check, and it builds my self-esteem, builds my confidence that I do what I say. But yeah, same thing went with fitness. It's like I started with just 50 push-ups a day, and then did that for months, and then progressed further. Um, but it matters to do what you say. I'd like to get to a point where I don't think negatively about myself so much in terms of being in a relationship. Yeah. And so it's like know how to succeed in a relationship and that'll go away. I do not want to continue thinking I need to prove my worth to myself to be worthy of being loved. Yeah. Again, these thoughts come from me. My boyfriend has always been good to me. Just be careful on that. It's like sometimes when we get into that pattern that, they're so great and then it's me, it's my fault. Sometimes we, one, become blind to the other person's faults. Or we sometimes like put them on a pedestal, and when we're putting somebody on a pedestal, they feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's like they don't really feel that you're like inferior and they're so great, and they don't want to feel that as well. And sometimes it's just an unnatural way to go. So just be careful on that. Again, it's just like another way that fear messes us up in relationships, and overcoming that fear is one of the biggest things we can do. Um, yeah, and that ends the post. So learn as much as you can about relationships. Get the fundamentals right there in the description below. That'll give you the base. And then the other products right there are throughout the ClickFunnels. So you can get those and give you a step-by-step process. But there's a direct correlation between how much you know about relationships and your level of success and your level of confidence. And so do that, and then also do like small commitments that you can fulfill each day that builds your self-esteem, whether it's like, doing 5 or 10 minutes of workouts every day. And it's just something small. It doesn't have to be big, and it just compounds, and then you get the momentum of that self-confidence, and then you really start to see results.